apparently trying to defend the move on their part here. But we want to get into this in a deeper way and look at this. We're joined in the studio by Arsen Ostrovsky, the attorney and CEO of the International Legal Forum. Always good to have you with us, Arsen, especially on these, a lot of people not sure what to think about these types of stories that come up here. And to be fair, it is a conflict zone, in the West Bank, however you want to label it. And it all sounds fairly reasonable for a site like Booking.com to sort of give any customers a heads up about the types of areas in case they don't know, the strife plaguing these areas. So why is this rubbing us wrong from sort of a moderate viewpoint that it appears to be? What's wrong with what Booking.com is doing here?
Look, I don't think there's really anything wrong with what Booking.com has done, as has been the case right now. Yeah. This has essentially been a resounding defeat for the BDS movement, which has for years devoted millions of dollars, resources and time into harassing, intimidating and lobbying Booking.com. And in the end, they have, pardon my Yiddish, babkas to show for it what they wanted. They wanted labels suggesting that Judea Samaria was occupied. They wanted references to human rights. They wanted some kind of definitive statement that this is not in accordance with international law, and they got none of that in the end. So they wanted
to take this a lot further than just warning, hey, this is an area you should look into further before you go there. They wanted to start putting these political labels on the situation. The Israeli Foreign Ministry was involved in this, sort of pushing back?
Yeah, look, there were many parties involved, including the Foreign Ministry and the Prime Minister's office. But you are right, the BDS movement wanted much, much more. In the end, they got a statement that is so watered down and so generic that is almost meaningless. Yeah. It's important, as you noted also, it applies not only to Israeli properties, it applies to properties in the Palestinian-controlled territories, exact same warning. And I think even, if not more so importantly, as we see some of the labels for other conflict zones, and that's important, that it's not just for the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it's for 30 plus of the conflicts. But if you look at the warning label, for example, for Cyprus, and that label goes into far more depth. It goes into human rights issues. It goes into references to international law. None of that comes about here. But you are right that this. It is.
Given what we've seen in the past, I mean, you mentioned some of these other cases where we've seen high-profile things like Airbnb, other companies embroiled in these types of scandals. This appears to be, as you mentioned, again, maybe even a success case for the anti-BDS movement here at this point. Or does this, nonetheless, I mean, just the fact this made a lot of headlines. It's getting attention that Booking's now at least putting a special notice on the site. Does this still, in some ways, empower the BDS movement? Even if this wasn't their big victory, does it still, put some wind in their sail a bit to sort of keep going, keep moving, keep looking for the next forum to bash Israel?
Look, the BDS movement will always keep looking. They're relentless, but this is a resounding defeat for the BDS movement. At the end of the day, and I think it's important you made reference to Airbnb and Unilever. Booking.com was watching those cases very, very carefully. There were many parties involved. The Foreign Ministry, our organisation, the International Legal Forum as well, put them on notice also. And when people asked us, for example, why you went so hard against Ben & Jerry's and Unilever, this is precisely why now organisations like Bookings.com will be looking at this as an example and thinking to themselves, do I need a dozen plus states investigating me? Do I need pension funds divesting billions of dollars? Do I need attorney generals on my back? No, I don't. So companies, organizations that are even contemplating engaging in boycott activities are now looking at that and are concerned and fearful that they do not want to engage in these activities. So I think we definitely learned something from the examples from Airbnb.
Bring up some I call it the other side here. I mean, Human Rights Watch. I mean, they described these travel warnings on Friday as a quote-unquote welcome step. They wanted to urge, as they put it, they wanted to urge customers from unwittingly landing in illegal settlements. And this is again Human Rights Watch language terminology. And they urged tourism companies to go further, that actually remove the listings in the West Bank settlements. So as we touched on here, these efforts are ongoing behind the scenes still to take things further to try to blacklist essentially anything Israeli over the Green Line?
Absolutely. The BDS movement is relentless in their pursuit of Israel. Organizations like Human Rights Watch, really, I mean, they literally poured millions of dollars in effort into this when they ought to have been looking at what's happening in Iran and Ukraine, Russia, but instead they've been focusing billions of dollars into what's happening here. Money that's been utterly wasted. The BDS movement will always, it's like a mutating virus. They will mutate in different ways, shapes and forms, but at the end of the day, this is a resounding defeat. What they wanted was a label against Judea Samaria. What they got was nothing.
Arsen Ostrovsky, thanks for being with us, helping us break down this latest, again, making some headlines here at Booking.com, and the changes to their website, at least for now, somewhat moderate, somewhat lukewarm, thanks to a lot of effort behind the scenes. Again, thanks for joining us on the program as well, and of course, we'll follow any of the latest developments around this.